Hi everyone, it's Trine. So this video is if you have your natal moon either trining or sextiling Pluto. The trine and the sextile are cooperative angles, which means that they enable two planets to come together in a way that facilitates something that is what we would consider beneficial or positive. I try to stay away from words like positive or negative, but sometimes it can generate, certain angles can generate something that is very cooperative with what you're trying to do, or conversely, like with um, the squares and oppositions, it can challenge your life. And, it's really interesting for me to do this because I have a conjunction between the moon and Pluto. And ever since I started doing certain angles and, talking about the moon in Scorpio and things like that, I've really become aware of how this has affected me. And I kind of was oblivious to it before because my moon is in Virgo. So I just assumed that I was kind of detached, even though I knew that I could be emotional at times. And now I totally see things differently. So whenever, you have a planet make contact with Pluto, there's going to be intensity, even if it's a trine, even if it's a sextile. So let's just review the planets separately and how they what their goals are, and then how they come together. So the moon is your emotional nature. It's your, I think that it's considered your desires. Uh, Mars can be that way as well, but I think with Mars, it's more of the goals that you have. Desire means to me something that is emotionally charged. So, part of that is safety or security, and the moon is connected with that. So, look to your moon sign to get further information about that. Because if your moon, for instance, is in Aries, you're not really looking to be that settled. You may be looking for challenges, and you might actually feel unsafe if everything is safe. And so that would make this sextile or trine a very dynamic aspect for you, because you might like to be challenged in life. And whereas if you have your moon in Taurus, or even in like Cancer, something like that, you may like to have a sense of financial security in particular, to make you feel as though you can just breathe and that you don't have to worry about taking care of yourself or your family. One of the reasons that I like Scorpio people is that I feel that they are very strong. Not in a way that is, trying to flaunt physical strength, or what we would call brawn, muscle, that kind of thing, but more on the energetic level of like being fearless. I think that's what I'm thinking of, and that applies emotionally with somebody that's not afraid to confront kind of the shadow side of life. And not everybody is capable of that. Some people shy away from darkness. So I feel that people with the moon in a friendly angle to Pluto have that psychological strength. overall. And I feel that this can make such a person a wonderful healer because you're able to get into it with people and really get into the marrow, get it into the heart of the matter, not the surface stuff. A lot of people, part of this is because, I mean, yes, I do believe that some people skirt the issue and they don't want, they're kind of like diverting from the issue. But some people are not in touch with their feelings, are not in touch with their shadow. And so they quite literally do not know why they feel the way that they do, or why, that kind of thing. So I think that you're a natural therapist in that sense, whether you have any training whatsoever, that you just are very comfortable with uncomfortable emotions. But you have to realize that not all people are like you, and they may feel discomfort because they sense that you're, always probing, whether you're actually doing so verbally or not. It might just be like within yourself that you're looking at them with that lens. I could see somebody with the moon in Gemini who is like analyzing someone. And by the way, if your moon is in Gemini, or let's see, like Libra, for instance, these are two signs that are more on the lighthearted side, that just in and of themselves don't typically like to delve into these things. But this will make you more profound in that way and more willing to do so. But you may also still have that understanding that the other person isn't ready for it. So you're just doing so on the internal level, where you're kind of psychoanalyzing people just in your own head. In how you relate to other people, if you are involved in a relationship, there is a sensuality that is associated with Pluto that combines with that emotional, the romantic side of life. And this is, I think this is helpful sometimes because I don't know if it's our society or whatnot, but we tend to emphasize one thing over the other, either this very romantic but very chaste kind of love, and then just the down and dirty, almost pornographic side of life. And to to be able to elevate the physical into this emotional thing is quite special. I think there's a lightning rod quality with this combination. Um, I consulted cafeastrology.com, and that's the theme that I get from that, is this idea of other people reacting to you in some way, maybe even on a subtle level. But I think one of the reasons that this happens is because the Pluto, it is drawing out. It's like, when you detoxify from something, that's what Pluto's influence is really like, kind of purging influence. And when that happens, it brings things to the surface. So with a person who has this combination, even though it's harmonious, just your presence can be something that other people sense, that gravitas, that kind of substance that you bring to the table. And when I say substance, what I mean is the lack of superficiality. That is what substance really is about for me. And sometimes it can come across as being really serious, but not in a dour way, but in an intense way. Like life isn't a game. This is the real stuff. This is the real deal. So that can be intimidating to a lot of people, even with the friendly angles here, because it's almost like you're exposing them in some way, and they don't like to be exposed. People don't like to be exposed, even if they are being superficial. They still want to have this facade of being a person of substance, when in fact they are not acting that way. And so it's like you're kind of like exposing them as a fraud. And I'm saying that that's probably not very fair. It's probably a little bit too harsh. But I just mean in terms of not really living life with enough, giving life the respect it deserves. And don't get me wrong, I mean, you will be admired by some people for these qualities. It's not just that people will be unnerved by you. There will be some that will respect that about you. And it's interesting because they speak here at cafeastrology.com that the trine specifically can create a situation where people are very polarized to you, either positively or negatively. So that is a very interesting thing, because the trine versus the sextile, the trine is more innate quality. So I'm assuming that's what they mean, that the people with the moon sextile Pluto, they have to consciously do things to generate this kind of influence, whereas the trine, it's like baked into them, so to speak. So, because it is like having the moon in Scorpio, albeit in a, positively aspected, that's kind of how the people with the moon in Scorpio are viewed, as, maybe they're viewed in a very extreme sense by others, because Pluto is extreme. So you have those qualities yourself. You may have very strong likes and dislikes. Maybe you either love something or you're indifferent to it, or you actually hate it. And maybe that's how you feel about people. But I think that with the trine and the sextile, it is more balanced in that sense. So perhaps that's not entirely correct. I don't know. Just think about that and think of, how you respond to various things in life, various stimuli, if you have very strong reactions to them. They also specify certain traits for women with these the trine, but I don't want to do that, because I think the moon is a feminine planet, so it's not something that even a man, I think, can possess this. And one of the things that they talk about is with business, that this can be beneficial. And I do think so. I've been thinking about this a lot, not only about you know, they mentioned perception and insight rather than intuition. And I actually prefer those terms myself because I think that it sounds kind of woo-woo to talk about intuition. It's like being psychic or something, and it sounds almost like random, like a random ability, rather than this thing where you're observing something at a deeper level. But it's not that you're receiving some kind of psychic impressions. It's really just perceiving the thing at its core. And having that ability to me can be very helpful because when you get some when you see something at its root cause, then you can really heal it if it's a problem. And if something is good, you can perceive it beyond the surface. For instance, people who are superficial, they're going to be fooled by surfaces. And if someone is disheveled, or they don't have a great delivery, they're not slick, some other people may discard them, but the person who's very perceptive can say, no, this person has the right stuff. I mean, even if you were choosing like a healer, some people just are into the surfaces, and they might choose somebody because they have like a really slick video or a slick slogan, and they may get slick results that are very superficial, but someone may not have that, but you can tell that they have the right stuff because you're looking beneath the surface. And so same thing with, business deals. You may see a diamond in the rough where other people are just focused on the surface. And I was saying, them specifying women, they were talking about being a mother and how you connect with your child. And yeah, I mean, obviously a mother, because she's carrying the child, she's going to have that bond. But the father, um, who has these one of these friendly angles, I definitely think that they can do so, because even an adoptive parent can develop a strong bond, energetic bond with their adoptive child, even if they're not, a woman didn't give birth to her child physically, she can still have that psychic, energetic connection. Okay, well, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.